right, well, Mark, obviously coming off the high of that win, how's that sort of translated into training this morning?
Yeah, good. Obviously, we're still sort of in the game window, but it's important that we got through our review yesterday. We had a good look at it. Again, a lot of areas we can grow and we can get better. So, it's about that again this week. We've got a different sort of challenge to what we faced against Sydney. We'll prepare for that and look to, like I said, look to take step forwards again.
Before chatting about the Macarthur game, to win over Sydney, especially comparing to the last game, were you satisfied with the growth that you've seen from the lessons learned from last time you faced Sydney?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not just lessons learned like in that game. We had a lot of sort of learning moments in difficult situations early on in the season, and we need to make sure that we keep taking note of them and keep improving. And we've spoke a lot about that responsibility and decision making and accountability, especially over the last few weeks. And I think that was the most impressive thing, with the Sydney game. I think we were, the game was driven by us, by the players, and they took responsibility for it.
And your attacking pack, particularly with Eli and Lockie being able to start now that they seem to be back at that full strength. What's your assessment of them now, a couple of games into having that almost full strength attack back?
Yeah, good. I think it's more important for us on a day-to-day basis now. Sort of, nearly obviously Max is coming back as well now, Burgess. So having as many of them available and creating that competitive nature on a day-to-day basis is most important for us. I think you see now that we do have everyone back, we're getting the rewards for that on the weekend. Whether that's in the performance of the boys, whoever start, and then the ones that come on, like Xavier did, making the difference.
And so you expect to have Max back for this game?
Look, he's back training, he's touch and go. We'll see how he goes. We've got a day off tomorrow and we'll have a 2-day lead in. So if he gets through everything, we'll make that decision later on in the week.
And with your opponent this weekend, obviously there's that, we just mentioned, the sort of hidden bonus that they're already playing or going to have played a game by the time. But what's dangerous about them kind of despite that?
Yeah, look, they've had... they've probably not been so consistent in the league, but they've been very good in the Champions League. They, like I said, they pose a little bit of a different threat to what sort of Sydney do, but we know they're going to be organised, they're going to be compact when they need to be, and again, it's just going to be how we go about our business, and if we're able to sort of affect the way that they do things. And like I said, this week is very important. I said after the game the other day, it's people sort of see the result on the weekend, but don't really have a good understanding of how hard these boys work on a daily basis, and that's so important to what we do. So this week, first and foremost, will be important what we do, and we'll have a good look at them tomorrow.
We're speaking to James this morning, and his kind of campaign so far in the nets has been really, really solid. And obviously, you've got several really solid goalkeepers to choose from. What's he doing that puts him into the net each week? Yeah,
like the players. I think we've seen a lot of growth in Delhi. Like us as a team, there was a little bit of a rough patch where we sort of had to really buckle down and double down on what we do and how we do it, and it's no different for Delhi. It's just that work rate away from the game and improving how we want to play as a team as well, and him being comfortable within that. So, like I said, it's across the board. Obviously, they work extremely hard. There's now competition there. Geordie fit, Alex fit, Noah fit, so it's good. We're in a good place at the moment, and look, we understand it's not always like this, so we need to capitalise while it is.
The past month, you've had a really great run, like 3 wins and a narrow loss. Is this now where you're trying to get the side to be? This is where you want them to be at this level?
Yeah, I want them to be probably further ahead over the next few weeks as well. Like I said, I mentioned it, we played Sydney, we're a different team on the weekend to when we played Sydney last time, and we want to be a different team this weekend to what we were against Sydney. So the boys now are really, like I said, taking control of that, taking responsibility for that, and I'm seeing things in their game now that it's becoming theirs. It's not just us as a coaching staff.
I think that they're starting to realise that we can compete.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's confidence, because during the tough period where we weren't getting results, they were still confident in terms of what we were doing. Like I said, it's not easy what I'm asking them to do, and it's just them adapting to that. And it's not just games as well, it's adapting to training, and having the pressures of getting results plays a part as well. So it's just them more adapting to that, I think, and like I said, taking responsibility for the football and taking ownership of it, and they're the ones that will drive it and take it to the next level that we need.
They seem to be dominating the last 4 matches, even though they might not have got one result in between, but they beat Wellington, Auckland and now Sydney, but they looked on top of all those sides.
Yeah, and that's the team that we want to be. We want to be a dominant team, whether we're at home or away. I think the weekend was very, very important to do that put that performance on and get that result at home, because our home fans definitely deserve that. But
They loved it though, didn't they?
yeah, it was fantastic. So, yeah, like I said, we have an understanding as well. We want people to come to games, but we know the requirement on us. We don't just expect them to turn up because we're a Newcastle team. We have to show in all aspects of our game that we represent them and that we want them there as well.
So obviously you want a big crowd there on Boxing Day, and it must be something the guys talk about. It's like a Boxing Day test or something like that.
No, well, speaking of tests, they should be coming to football because the tests are over, aren't they? We're done. We've won.
Worst Australian team ever. But is that what you're hoping for, to get that, because of that great win? The atmosphere was electric, even though 5,000
Yeah,
people.
yeah,
Boxing Day is a great opportunity.
absolutely. And like I said, it's not just because of the win. The win is nice, is a good reward for the fans. But I think the way that the players now are going about their work, no matter sort of the conditions, no matter the circumstances, I think, hopefully it's becoming clear to see the team that we want to become. And like I said, that journey is still ongoing. But I think now it's clear to see not only the football that we want to play, but how the players want to go about that as well, in terms of their work rate, their work ethic, and what they represent.
So you're going to be a bit of a Grinch though on Thursday. You're going to make them train.
Yeah, absolutely. Mate, I was a player too. My wife said to me the other day, she goes, "I don't ever remember you having Christmas off." I said, "Yeah, that's right."
Costa, how's he shaped up after what happened?
Yeah, good. He's all right. Look, it's been sort of an ongoing thing. He's taking care of it, doing the things that he needs, and like I said, we're at a place now where he probably could have stayed on, but with the
Didn't want to come off.
with the competitiveness in the team, and we know exactly what we're going to get from the boys that are coming on. So, like I said, we're in a good place when we're able to be confident in those decisions.
Good to see Coda back as well.
Yeah. Obviously, he missed a big chunk of football, but he has a good base under his belt. He played a lot of games through pre-season, and he was unfortunate in the timing of the injury, but he's the ultimate professional. He's worked extremely hard to get himself back. And look, we can't get too excited. I can't get too excited yet. It's obviously going to take a little bit of time for Cotter to get back to where he sets his standards at, but it's nice to obviously have that option at the moment.
And the local homegrown kids, they just seem to rise on the weekend.
Yeah.
Is that what you're noticing at training too? That they're
Like I said,
that energy to the side.
look, I think they've been doing it from the beginning. Especially probably Xavier and Max. We sort of had a plan. They've had long years, and we have sort of had a plan for them during pre-season. But obviously that got thrown out the window because of injuries and things like that. So they sort of got thrown in the deep end. But like I said, their application, and I think you see the rest of the players. It's important for the rest of the players to understand when we have these local boys around, they give off that energy. So the boys that come in, whether they're from Sydney, Melbourne, international, they have a good understanding straight away of what it means to play for the Jets.